So Zach is at table 1, yep.
Yeah.
What was that, Zach?
Problem-free is not fully prepared. I mean, that's the basis of positive youth development. You know, we can try to eliminate the problems, but that doesn't really mean we're preparing them completely, holistically for the future. So.
And problem elimination is important within the context, most importantly, of living a healthy, productive life. Exactly right, Zach. Whoever is committed to building healthy youth can leverage these principles to make a powerful impact. It's especially relevant in the field of prevention, and I just am going to reiterate it. Many programs with a primary prevention label are actually positive youth development programs because they understand that just telling kids not to do stuff isn't going to help them build the competencies and skills that they need to live a great life. I'm also very visual, and I think one of the things you'll learn as we go into the brain-based learning component is really how our brains assimilate and learn information. So rather than just talk more about this, you're going to get the chance to actually see what the shift in perspective looks like. So I'm going to need 3 volunteers. I'm going to need, all right, Bob, come on up. And I need 3. Gary, come on up. And one more. What about Tammy? Would you be let's welcome Tammy up to the front. Okay, very good. So Bob, I'm going to ask you to hold this sign. I'm going to ask you to go all the way down right by that white easel. Very good. All right, I'm going to ask you to stand right here. Thank you, Gary. Hold this sign so our wonderful audience can see. And I am going to ask you, Tammy, to hold this sign. So I'm going to ask you to stand right here. And ask you to stand right here and you to stand right here. Now, we are missing another volunteer. We need someone who's going to volunteer to be a student. Someone's going to volunteer to be a student. All right, Zach. How about you, Zach? All right. Okay. So Zach is going to volunteer to be our student. All right. So just to help you fit the bill, I'm going to actually come on over here. We're going to help you. You're going to be a teen just for now. All right. So you're going to be a teen. All right. Very good. All right. So Zach is our teen. Now I'm just going to ask you to walk with me wherever I direct you. Now previous models of prevention or risk reduction basically said, okay, you know what? There's a lot of negative outcomes. These aren't good for our kids. So we're going to try to push teens who are making unhealthy behaviors to the idea that not engaging in risk behaviors is the status quo for health. Or young people who are standing here, they said, you know what, it's really important to continue to encourage kids to make good, actually to reduce risk behaviors or avoid risk behaviors. So basically prevention said our goal is from here to here or just staying here, all right? Now, the new perspective that so many organizations have embraced is said, you know, yes, it's really important to help teen Zach avoid alcohol and avoid tobacco and avoid violence and drug use and sexual activity, but this isn't the whole picture. We want to help him make these choices, but within the context of promoting positive youth outcomes. And just to give you a little heads up of what we're going to talk about later, some of the ultimate youth outcomes are competence, character, confidence, caring, compassion, and connection, and basically resources and tools that help them build those competencies. So basically, the shift has gone from just being here to instead reaching all youth, at-risk youth, as well as youth who aren't engaging in risk behaviors, to go all the way here. Does that make sense? So the ultimate goal is not the avoidance, just the avoidance of risk behavior. The ultimate goal becomes helping young people develop outcomes that'll help them thrive. Does that make sense? Okay, let's give our volunteers a big round of applause. Take a seat, I'll grab these. We're going to need these later. You guys are doing well in our studio space here. All right, you wanted to keep the hat. I know it, man. Okay. So basically, what did you gain from this? Well, how would you summarize what you just saw here today? If you were just to summarize it to somebody else or for our wonderful folks in the field, how would you summarize what you saw here today? Who's willing to share a summary? Gary, and you're at table 2.
We don't necessarily need to just stick with the bad or the consequences of the problems. We need to actually shift more toward encouraging them to go to more positive areas.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Basically, more of a focus on, yes, we want to help young people avoid risk behaviors, but more of the focus on that within the context of helping them build a healthy, productive life, okay? So outstanding. Another big round of applause for all of our volunteers. All right, now I think the amazing thing is so many groups have already done this, have already created that new shift to promoting healthy outcomes as well as helping young people avoid risk behaviors, that the American Psychological Association Task Force on Prevention went so far as to redefine primary prevention. They actually redefined primary prevention as both reducing the incidence of psychological and physical health problems and enhancing social competence and health. Whereas before, the old definition was just reducing or eliminating the incidence of psychological health problems and physiological, all right, related to risk behaviors, okay? Now, just so you know, we're summarizing a big chunk of content in your manual. So there is a lot of great research and information that you're going to find in your manual in addition to what we have time to cover today. So if you're flipping around in your books, please know that this is just a basic overview summary of what we already have in our manual. All right, so we're going to move right on. Now, the question is, why did this shift happen? Well, from the field perspective, the shift happened because people discovered, kind of on their own, stumbling along, that these positive youth development practices really work. From a research perspective that also fueled that shift in the field, it really came from researchers trying to answer two important questions.